Welcome to the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for November 26, 2044. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Let's rise for the National Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. To confirm a legal meeting, may we have roll call for attendance?
Member Green?
Present.
Member Allen?
Present.
Secretary Morgan? And President Suggs.
Present.
Mr. President, you have 4 present and 1 absent.
With 4 members present, we have a legal meeting. Let's proceed to item 3. Any opposed? Motion carries. The minutes have been approved. Let's move on to item 4 on our agenda, claims.
Mr. President, we have before us claims to be paid on November 27, 2024. General fund is $329,874.93. Special revenues including motor vehicle highway, local roads and streets, motor vehicle highway restricted, park department, health and human services, vehicle auction, community development grant, healthy families, immunization billing grant, solid waste recycling grant, HIV prevention grant, COVID-19 health grant, COVID-19 CDBG grant, media fund, and cumulative capital improvement is a total of $106,158.52. For ambulance non-reverting, public safety income tax, the LDA casino foreclosure grant, ARPA grant, and Market Park is a total of $36,015.96. The grand total to be paid on November 27th is $472,049.41.
I entertain a motion to approve the claims to be paid on November 27, 2024. Total amount $472,491.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
And President Suggs.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 against, the motion carries.
We also have ratification of payroll claims for November 1st and November 15th, a total of $4,360,073.38, and ratification of 1 general fund claim of $7,600.
We have ratification claims to be paid on November 1st and November 15th. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly second to pay ratification of claims for November 1st and November 15th. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call for approval?
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan? President Suggs?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes, 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 against, the motion carries. Ratification of claims for November 1st and 15th has been approved.
That concludes claims.
Thank you. I would like to move on to item number 5 on the agenda, correspondence and agreements. Start with Law Department.
Mr. President, first we have a deed for transfer of properties whereby this board would transfer the following properties to the Redevelopment Commission for use in the Redevelopment Commission side lot program. The addresses are 701 Fillmore, 736 Polk Street, 5319 East 13th Avenue, 1837 to 39 Connecticut, 1527 Hendricks, 1292 to 94 West 16th Avenue, then 1961 Connecticut, and 632 New Jersey Street. Intergovernmental transfers of property are authorized by Indiana Code 36-1-11-1, and this specifically is authorized by 36-1-11-8. So it's proper for city entities and government entities to transfer property among themselves, either for consideration or no consideration. In this case, there's no money that will transfer, but the properties will transfer. so that the redevelopment commission can basically get them back on the tax rolls. So with that, I move that we approve this property transfer and authorize the execution and recording of deeds for the properties that I listed.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the transfer of properties, transferring ownership to the redevelopment commission for properties listed as 701 Fillmore, 736 Polk, 5319 East 13th, 1837 through 39 Connecticut, 1527 Hendricks Street, 1292 through 94 West 16th Avenue, 1961 Connecticut, and 6632 New Jersey Street. May I have a second on that motion?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
President Suggs?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 against, the property transfer has been approved.
Mr. President, that concludes correspondence from the Law Department. Next, we have correspondence from the Community Development Department. The first correspondence is regarding a grant funding agreement with the Blind Social Center. This funding agreement is for $50,000. It's ARPA, it's authorized under the ARPA Act and using the city's ARPA money. And this would fund the Blind Social Center to continue their programs for, and I'm looking for the term. So I don't have an end date, but I do believe the ARPA funds have to be spent by the end of 2025. Is that right, Salita? 26. Okay, so with that, I move that we approve this agreement, this grant funding agreement with Blind Social Center Incorporated for $50,000, and it will begin on November 20th.
There's a motion on the floor to approve ARPA funds for the Blind Social Center to be used no later than December 31st, 2026. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Do we have any discussion on this motion?
Yes, Mr. President, I have not had the opportunity to read through the entire contract. I just want to know whether or not it indicates when the amounts and how the amounts will be distributed, as well as the reporting. For a lot of the contracts, we've given them half and asked that when they've expended that half to provide us with that information in the spending, and then we will provide the rest of the funding. But I'm not sure.
I can speak to that.
Okay,
So the use of the funds, it's supposed to be for, there's 3 items. One, a 4,000 square foot parking lot. We're gonna install a 6-foot security fence, and then whatever's left over will go towards approved programming expenses. That's all in section 3 of the contract. And then in section 5, it says that in the city's sole discretion, the city may disperse all funds at once or may choose to make disbursements based on progress of the work to be performed hereunder as set forth in chapter or section 3 above. So essentially, the city will have control of, we can either do it all at once, we can do it half. It's entirely up to the city how we want to monitor the disbursements.
okay. And they just need to know that they will have to provide us a progress report. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
further discussion on the motion?
Thank you.
Thank you. May we have roll call for approval, please?
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
And President Suggs?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 against, the motion carries for the grant to the Blind Social Center in the amount of $50,000.
Mr. President, next we have approval of instrumentality of government for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. So this memo what we're being asked to approve, the city's community development department continuing to be an instrumentality of HUD to provide housing counseling service. I'm gonna read the resolution. Whereas the city of Gary Department of Community Development supports efforts towards affordable and sustainable housing for residents of Indiana, whereas the Board of Directors approves the HUD-approved counseling agency authority to provide housing counseling services to the residents of Gary, Indiana, and surrounding communities in accordance with 24 CFR 214.103A. Now therefore be resolved that the City of Gary Department of Community Development is approved as with the authority to provide such housing counseling services to the residents of Gary, Indiana through HUD certified counseling staff following all applicable HUD counseling guidelines, policies, and procedures. So my motion is that we approve this so that community development can continue to provide those services to Gary residents.
Second.
Motion on the floor and properly approved to approve the agreement with HUD and the Board of Works and Safety for the City of Gary through the Community Development Department. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
And President Suggs.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 against, the motion to approve housing from HUD, Housing and Urban Development through Community Development has been approved.
So, Mr. President, next we have correspondence from the Office of Environmental Affairs. Is there anybody here from Environmental Affairs that can speak to this contract with QED Environmental Systems? Okay, can you come up to the microphone and make sure it's on?
Good morning. Yes, this item is a portable gas extraction monitoring system that we use for the Gary's landfill. And this company, QED Environmental, had quoted a price for a little over $20,000, but they have reduced the price to $15,116. So that is the reason why it had to be amended, so that we could resubmit for a new purchase order for the new reduction in the price. Thank you.
Have they already started the work? Or?
No.
Okay.
This is a machine, a portable machine.
Okay, so it hasn't been installed yet?
No, I mean,
Okay.
it hasn't been
It's portable purchase.
purchased.
Okay, but okay, I understand that.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So with that, I move that we approve the First Amendment to the contract with QED Environmental Services for a portable gas extraction monitor.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we vote to amend the contract with QED Environmental Systems to purchase a portable gas extract machine, monitoring machine. I don't see that. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have a roll call for approval?
Member Green? Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
And President Suggs.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 against, the motion carries.
Next, Mr. President, we have correspondence from the Public Works Division regarding professional services contract with Cut Right Lawn Care for snow plowing services. So this will go into effect immediately. The scope of services is that the contractor will agree to conduct emergency snowplow removal in various areas of the city as assigned by the General Services Director or his or her designee. The contractor affirms that they're duly licensed, bonded, and insured to do the work. The contractor's drivers must have valid driver licenses and all appropriate documentation for the vehicles being driven, and the drivers must provide that information to the Department of Public Works. The amount of the contract,
Not to see 20,000.
is $20,000. Okay, it's $20,000, and it lasts, I believe, until April 1st, 2025. So with that, I move that we approve this contract for snow plowing services with Cut Right Lawn Care.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second to approve contract for snow removal with Cut Right Lawn Service through April 1st, 2025. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
And President Suggs?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 against, the motion carries.
All right, Mr. President, next we have a contract for professional services with Berglund Construction Company. This will be effective as of today for a scope of work that includes all necessary construction services to be performed on the basement restoration at the Gary Public Safety Building located at 555 Polk Street, which services and scope of work is more particularly set forth in Exhibit 2, which is fully incorporated into this agreement and shall be described hereinafter as the services. The amount not to exceed is $278,995, and the contractor will submit itemized invoices to the Department of Public Works. So with that, I move that we approve this contract for construction services in the amount of $278,995 for Berglund Construction.
There's a motion on the floor to approve contract with Berglund Construction. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Just that, go ahead.
Yes. There is no QC40 attached, but the reason that it's not attached is because we plan to use the funding from the leaseback. The leaseback of the $40 million that the city received, there's $10,000 a month from the lease payments that we make that go into a building maintenance fund with the trustee. And we will be, when the invoices are presented to the Public Works Department, they will be sent to the Finance Department, to the trustee, and the trustee will pay them directly. We can't pay them from the city funds because we do not have appropriations, so the trustee would pay them and as they come due.
Has the prior provider been notified of the payment increments?
I'm not sure, I've had no contact with them. Prior provider of,
The services?
oh,
I mean, he's asking for a bill of $278,895, and if we're paying it incrementally,
So is it that,
so these are, when we say incrementally, they are billing us as the services are completed, or do they plan to bill us for the total amount?
well, I think you read that there would be an itemized billings, so it sounds like there's individual billings. But
Okay. So as they come in, so the process might be a little bit longer
okay.
because it will have to go to UMB.
is the way the payments with the trustee are structured, is that we can only pay, you said, is it 40,000 goes into a fund every month? Is there an accumulation of funds?
There's an accumulation of funds. So
Okay.
we've not been using those funds for almost 2 years.
Okay.
So it has accumulated.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Any further discussion?
No, just that this is work that definitely needs to be done
Certainly.
with that 100-year-old building, so that's all.
I'll entertain, I'd like to have roll call for approval, please.
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
President Suggs?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 no, the contract for Berglund Construction has been approved.
Next on the agenda, still under correspondence from the Public Works Department, we have a change order number 1 for Berglund for the basement level rehab for the public safety building. This is additional services for the contractor to relocate, remove, and dispose of furniture. This was originally going to be done in-house, but because of the holidays that are upon us, and we're expecting limited workers, this was a request from the Public Works Department to have this service added in the amount of $8,500. If approved, this will bring the new contract price to $287,495. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion that we accept change order number 1 for the public safety basement level rehab project.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve a change order with Berglund Construction in the rehab of the public safety facility. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, the contract that we just approved was for $278,995, but we now have a increase of $8,500. So should the contract amount be $287,495?
No, because it should be the original price for what they bid it on. If we did it in the contract, it'll have to mention the added work, because this wasn't within the bid. This is extra work. The $8,500.
So we will be amending this contract we just passed?
Now, I think if we would have read this one first, the contract that we would have just passed was inclusive in it. I think, wasn't there a previous contract?
No.
So this is the original?
Yeah, that's the original, and then there's a change order for that same
So
project.
this expands what the scope of work is. They bid on the original scope of work, so, this is on top of, and you're saying because we'd have to basically rebid it almost. It's just easier to do it as a change order, it's better to do it as a change order.
Yes,
Just track the amounts of the change order so we don't hit 20%.
correct. And this is still within 20% of the total contract price.
We're gonna, we can do amendments to it.
It says the original contract was $278,995,
Yes.
and now it's $287,495.
Correct. If we approve the change order, but what I'm hearing is that the contract needs to be amended.
Well, it's not actually just like an addendum to it. And I know I said amendment. So like, as long as we're within the 20%, we can proceed under the original contract. You know,
Yeah.
but, and again, this is like legally acceptable to do. It might not be the way, we prefer since like needed off the bat change, but, I'm in agreement with Mr. Allen.
So have they started the work?
No.
Any additional discussion on this motion? I'd ask for roll call for approval, please.
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
And President Suggs?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 against, the change order has been approved.
So it looks like that concludes correspondence from the Public Works Department. We now have correspondence from the Engineering Department. We have we have another change order. This is change order number 1 for Milestone Contractors. This is for the 2024 citywide resurfacing project. that was awarded a couple months ago. We had a original contract price of $236,726.30. This is a request of $18,200.50, and this is to do the remaining portion of what's left for the roadway around the north side of Gleason. So Harrison, or was it Jefferson?
Jefferson.
Jefferson, between Harrison and Pierce. And so that's to do 2 inches milling and paving for that stretch. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion that we accept change order number 1 for Milestone Contractors in the amount of $18,200.50, and they have not done the work yet.
I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we do a change order with the citywide resurfacing project for Milestone Contractors. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
And President Suggs?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 against, the change order has been approved with Milestone.
Next on the agenda, we have a contract between the City of Gary and Milestone Contractors. This is for the 2025 asphalt and concrete work to be done in the year 2025. We have a not to exceed amount of $1,250,000. And again, this is for miscellaneous concrete and asphalt work based off of the unit prices that were bidded out. There is no QC40 attached because this is dealing with funds that will be available in the year 2025. But we would like to enter into agreement to have their prices held for the entirety of 2025.
Put that in the form of a motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the contract between the City of Gary and Milestone Contractors for the 2025 asphalt and concrete project, any amount not to exceed $1,250,000.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second to approve the contract with Milestone Contractors for concrete and asphalt work. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Excuse me.
We will need that.
Right.
Because the budget has been approved.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect.
Okay.
I'm confused in the contract. It states on their itemized pricing, it says budget up to $3 million.
We also have Reeve and Riley coming up for a contract as well.
Okay, so the total city budget is not $3 million, but this particular contract is.
To do asphalt and concrete related work, up to $3 million is what we were planning on budgeting towards concrete and asphalt work. This is just one contract out of 2 so far, but yeah, we're only able to do 2.5.
Now, paragraph 5.1 does say that 1.25 million and a quarter is the not to exceed amount for this one. So even though the table
It's
has a higher amount, that's what we hold it to.
any additional discussion? Hearing no additional discussion, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Member Green?
So you're asking
Motion.
he amend his motion to say approval pending.
Motion to accept the contract between City of Gary and Milestone, pending QC40, any amount not to exceed $1,250,000.
I second his amended motion.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Let's go back to roll call for approval, please.
Sure. Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
And President Suggs?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 against, the contract for Milestone Contractors for 2025 has been approved.
Next on the agenda, we have an identical agreement. This time is between the City of Gary and Reith and Riley Construction for the 2025 asphalt concrete project for the year 2025. Identical, not to exceed amount of $1,250,000. I would like to make a motion that we accept the contract between the city and Reith and Riley pending the QC 40 be completed. Did I already say for not to exceed amount of $1,250,000?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we accept a contract with Reith Riley Construction for the 2025 year for amount of not to exceed $1,250,000. Any discussion on that motion?
This will not complete all the work that we are planning to do in 2025. We still plan on submitting for community crossings, which is another $1.5 million project. Matching.
Thank you for that clarification. Any additional discussion? May we have roll call for approval, please?
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
And President Suggs?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 objection, the contract with Reith and Riley Construction for $1,250,000 for the 2025 year has been approved.
Next, we have professional service contract between the city and Midwestern Electric. This is for citywide streetlight installation, starting now and then entering into the year 2025. We have a not to exceed amount of $616,855, and that is to install various poles and fixtures throughout the city. I do have a itemized sheet within the agreement documents that highlights what's accepted and then the total at the bottom. I'd like to make a motion that we accept, yes, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the contract between the city and Midwestern Electric in the amount not to exceed $16,855 pending the QC 40 being completed. This is coming out of the ARPA approved fund for streetlight repair work. Original budget is $3.4 million. But yes, that was my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve the contract with Midwestern Electric commencing November 25th, 2024 through 2025 for the installation of fixtures and lighting fixtures and poles for the city of Gary. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
And President Suggs?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 opposition, the contract for $616,855 has been approved with Midwestern Electric for the lighting for the city of Gary.
Next, we have professional service contract between Midwestern Electric and the city. This is for traffic signal repair work for the year 2025. Based upon their bid and what they supplied in their submission, we would like to enter into an agreement for a not to exceed amount of $500,000. Again, for the year 2025, and this is to repair, improve, and enhance warranted intersections with traffic signal related repair work. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the contract between the city and Midwestern for traffic signals for 2025. Any amount not to exceed $500,000, pending QC 40 being completed.
It's a motion on the floor. May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second to approve a contract with Midwestern Electric for repair and installation of street lights in the city of Gary.
Traffic signal.
Okay, it says on the first page, street lights. Am I missing something?
I think that was for the 616, additional one in there for, having them, we got two Midwestern. So the second one is,
The first one was traffic lights. Traffic signals, and the second one says street lights.
Traffic signals are street lights.
that's correct. So,
This is the 616.
no, we just did the 616, the street light. So this is the 500,000 for traffic signal. So I mean, my motion is still the same, since I spoke about traffic signals, and the traffic signals does have the $500,000 not to exceed amount in our agreement.
Understand, I just think we were reviewing the wrong document at the time we approved it. I mean, the approvals are correct.
Right, the approval's correct. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we need to redo anything.
So, maybe to make the record clear.
Yes, to just clarify and correct it here. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, I'm asking, was it, I'm gonna admit, I didn't have no problem.
Okay, that's fair.
Cause we could just make a statement on the record to clarify what amount was from which service.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
if it was clear to you, then maybe.
It was clear. We're clear. Yes.
So now there's a new motion, for what we're talking about now, which is traffic signals, not to exceed $500,000 for, traffic signal repair work for 2025 from the city and Midwestern Electric. I think that motion is still.
Yes, it's been moved and properly seconded. Any additional discussion on the motion? May we have roll call for approval of the traffic signal motion not to exceed $500,000?
Member Green,
Yes.
Member Allen,
Yes.
Secretary Morgan.
Yes.
And President Suggs.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 against, the motion carries.
Next we have on the agenda is professional service contract between the city of Gary and BSI. This is to procure the remaining, materials, for citywide and, corridor poles and, fixtures. I believe we have a total of 82 poles and 100 fixtures, to be ordered, to be, held in reserve. So this is just in case of, emergencies or accidents. We have the, material stored, in-house, within the city so that we can quickly respond. We have a not to exceed amount of $391,955.49. And, this will be coming out of the ARPA approved, $3.4 million pot. And this will conclude, our final purchase for material. Yeah, I think at this point we'll only be left with like $600 in the account. With that being said, I would like to approve.
Turn your mic.
Oh, Mike's been off this whole time. But your mic's been on, so maybe it got captured.
I'm gonna hope so.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we accept professional service contract between City of Gary and VSI in the amount not to exceed $391,955.49 for material.
I second that motion.
It's been moved and properly seconded to approve a contract for the purchase of poles and fixtures from VSI Ltd. And a contract not to exceed $391,955.49. Is there any discussion on that motion? Pending.
No.
We have, I don't know why it's not in the packet.
This contract.
Oh, we did? Okay, I'm just.
Oh, you just have this.
Yeah, I only have
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah, I have. In front of me.
I don't have it either.
So the contract just reflects the term of payment?
Yep. And then
Yes,
you should also have the sole source sheet in there as well.
Yes.
I think it's June. Yeah, I think it's June.
Here we go. Okay, so is that the, wait, is that the bill?
May 30th. Yeah, May 30th, 2025.
Okay.
And this is the purchase of material.
And the contract does reflect the same, not to exceed $391,995.49. $955, I'm sorry. $391,955.49. It says November 20th, 2024. Okay.
Any additional discussion? Hearing no discussion, may I have a roll call for approval?
Member Green, Member Allen,
Yes.
Secretary Morgan.
Yes.
And President Suggs.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no's.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 opposition, the contract with VSI Ltd. for light fixtures in the amount of $391,955.49 has been approved.
Thank you. That concludes correspondence from the engineering department. Next, we have correspondence from the health department, opening of sealed bids. This is for it's titled Gary Neighborhood Facility Center. This is from JMD. Okay, we have a total amount of $656,525. $656,525. And it looks like this is for electrical work, roofing work, interior walls, bathroom and kitchen facilities, drywall, HVAC, and other work. And again, I was from JMD Construction. I'm sorry. Next we have from EC Babilla. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to say where they're located. JMD Construction LLC is located 1990 Grant Street, Gary, Indiana. Okay, next we have from EC Babilla Inc. And they are located 3974 Harrison Street in Gary, Indiana.
And would you repeat the name of the contractor again?
EC Babilla Inc.
EC, okay. B-O-B-I-L-L-O?
BABILLA. It looks like we have a total amount of $275,359. Let's do a quick check to confirm. Okay, yep. So 275,359, 0 cents.
0 cents?
0 cents. It looks like these are the only two bids that were submitted. So at this time, we'll provide the information to the health department. And then at a future Board of Works meeting, come back with a recommendation and award.
Thank you.
For the record, there was another bid, unfortunately, was received after the deadline, so it would have been 3 bidders, but they didn't conform by meeting the requirement to get it in on time, so.
Is there any additional correspondence and agreements?
No, but we do have 2 things under unfinished business that we need to address. One, Attorney Hatcher is here to talk to the board about.
Ms. Hatcher, please.
Yes.
Thank you. So we are proposing.
Would you turn that mic on for me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're proposing the demolition of approximately 15 structures from community development. We have money that needs to be spent before the end of the year, and these properties have been on the list for a long time for demolition. The majority of them are in the Midtown area east of Broadway, and we've split them up into 4 different requests for quotes based on the pricing. So number 1 is RFQ 2024-9, which is a total, for addresses 1976 Connecticut, 1981 to 83 Connecticut, and 2247 Broadway. Those we would like to award to C. Lee, who's located on 1011 South Lake Street. That project total is $99,952. The second is RFQ 2024-10, 1948 to 54 Massachusetts, 1935 Massachusetts, 1916 Massachusetts, and 1976 Massachusetts. We'd like to award that to Richardson, which is located at 620 East 10th Place in Gary. The next one is RFQ, for a total of $82,900. The next one is RFQ 2024-11, which is 1817 Delaware, 1805 Delaware, 1617 Delaware, 1611 Delaware, 1605 Delaware, 1539 Delaware, and 1948 Delaware. Also to Richardson Demolition for $86,200. And the final one is RFQ 2024-12, which includes 1608 Virginia, 1604 Virginia, and 1720 Virginia. And that one to Avatar, and that is also located in Gary for a total of $65,000. So in total, we're talking about maybe 260 or so thousand, maybe a little bit more than that, 360, right? 250, about $300,000, which will take up a significant amount of what we need to have spent. And then there's also a project that redevelopment is currently doing off of Broadway. We think that's going to take up the remainder of the money. So we will be moneyed out, as we should be, by the end of the year.
So you're asking the board to approve these 4 RFQs and approve that we move forward with the contracts pending final completion of the contracts and the contractors coming and signing the contracts?
Yes, absolutely. And we would like for that to happen today and tomorrow. I'm going to give them all a call if we can get preliminary approval, make sure they get up here to get them signed, and then have them available for signature at the next meeting, but so that they can start preparing to do the demo work, as we don't just need to have them contracted, but we need to have them paid before December 31.
Okay. So full disclosure, Attorney Hatcher asked the law department to review the revised demo contracts, but because of emergencies imposed on the law department the last minute, we weren't able to complete her request, even though she submitted it timely. And one key thing in the new contracts is they will not be paid unless the dump tickets are provided to the city.
Yes.
It's very important that we clean up the city and make sure that everybody, including our contractors, is complying with all the legal requirements, including disposing of the debris properly and legally. So
One other inclusion in the new language of the contract is that GSD will be on site, so that when they do remove the structure and the sewer tap is open, they'll be able to close that up.
all right. So with that, I move that we approve these 4 RFQs and the accompanying contract pending completion and execution by the contractor of the contracts, which will happen before our next meeting next Wednesday.
And I will bring them back in front of the board at the next meeting.
So there's a motion on the floor to approve 4 RFQ for Community Development Department.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion, additional discussion on this issue? Hearing none, may we have roll call for approval?
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Allen?
Yes.
Secretary Morgan?
Yes.
And President Suggs?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 opposition, the contract approval for the RFQs have been approved.
Thank you.
At this point, yes, please.
Mr. President, we do have one other item that was in our packet but not on the agenda. It is a proposed contract for Christmas decor, and that's also the name of the company.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be under new business, but
Oh, well, okay, well, I'm
But go
mentioning
ahead,
under new
please.
business, yeah. That, this contract is for an amount not to exceed $14,901.12. I'm looking for the QC40. Okay, the QC40 was provided for this, and so the scope of services, the contractor agrees to design, install, and then remove holiday decorations at Gary City Hall, 401 Broadway, as described in Exhibit 3. And the contract would be effective December 2nd. And then the contract would expire December 31st of this year, unless we earlier terminate or extend in writing. So with that, I move that we approve this contract for Christmas Decor with the company name Christmas Decor for the amount of $14,901.12.
There's a motion on the floor to approve a contract with Christian Decor to install Christmas decor at City Hall. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there discussion on this matter? Hearing no discussion, may I have a roll call for approval? I'm watching paper.
Member Green,
Yes.
Member Allen,
Yes.
Secretary Morgan.
Yes.
And President Suggs.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 4 yes and 0 no.
With a vote of 4 yes and 0 opposition, the motion carries to approve contract with Christmas Decor. Do we have any unfinished business to go before the board? Do we have any public comments in queue?
No, we do not.
Seeing the list here in the room, there's no names listed for public comments. I'd like to open the floor. If there's anyone here who would like to make a comment before the board. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your attendance. The board would like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.